to the Raise Your Energy podcast. My name is Lange and I'm your host and energy expert. I spoke about burnout quite a few times over the last few episodes, and today I want to talk to you about how to overcome burnout once and for all. I have met enough people that burned out before. Then they get better to just burn out again a year or two afterwards. And that's what I want to discuss with you today. What needs to happen so you don't burn out again and again? So stay tuned for the answer to that question. I mentioned in the last episode when we talked about burnout that the first step that needs to happen to overcome burnout is accepting it. When you accept that you are burned out, you can move forward with your recovery. But if you keep living in denial or are not willing to accept it, you don't take actions to get better. Makes sense, right? So looking back at myself, when I was burned out, I was not open to accepting what was happening or that I was just not okay. And people in our lives are so important to help us accept it and seek the help that we need. And I'm so grateful that I had my husband who said these words to me that got me to finally stop and actually reflect on what was happening. So who knows for how much longer I would have stayed in that hamster wheel, right? And what else would have happened to me and my health as a consequence? So listen to the people in your life if they are trying to tell you something. Maybe they are telling you that you're working too hard. Maybe they're telling you to relax more or that you need something else outside of your work or your career. You know, most of the time people cannot really identify burnout for what it is, or they might just not want to say it out loud. So they will give you other hints. They will use other language or other words so they can point you into that direction of realizing that something has to change. So check in with yourself and try to be honest to see if you have received signals like that before. But today, I don't just want to focus on accepting burnout. I want to tell you what needs to happen for you to turn into a version of yourself that will never accept being burnt out ever again. And this means overcoming burnout once and for all. This is the state I'm in now. I know from the bottom of my heart that I will never burn out like I did before ever again. I have just changed too much in my life and in myself that this is just not an option anymore. I know now things that literally prevent me from going back and being fully burned out. And that does not mean that old beliefs or habits or programs might be triggered or show up again in my life. But now I understand myself and those signs so much better to intervene before it goes too far. I can stop myself from going down that road again now. And every time I catch myself, I can stop it earlier and quicker. And that's the power of observation and awareness of oneself. And this is what I want for you. You know, too many times have I heard friends or colleagues or participants in my programs tell me that they have been burnt out several times before in their life. And that just truly breaks my heart. You know, after they have experienced it once and got better, they must have had not enough change in their life to avoid it happening again. So I went away and investigated a little bit further on this topic, spoke to quite a few of these people who have experienced this, and I made 2 observations about it, why it might happen that they burn out again and again. So the first one is that they might not want to really fully accept that they were burnt out. And the reason might be that it would mean to make some major or serious changes in their life. And it can be daunting to think about what that would mean. And when you're already stressed out, And adding another task, which would be recovering from burnout, well, that might just be a little bit too much. The other possibility is, of course, as well, that they might not want to focus on their recovery out of fear of what it could mean for their life. And I get it. I had the same experience before I was ready to accept it. The fear of not knowing what that would mean to my life if I was burned out. What would happen to my career if I accepted it? Would I lose it? Would I need to leave my job and lose my level of income? What would happen to my life if I would not focus anymore on my career? And who actually was I without my career? Lots of daunting questions, am I right? And I know this is one reason why many people ignore their unwellness, if that is a word, if you can say that, unwellness. Well, I use it now. So it's because they don't want to lose what they have worked for so hard and for so long. But if they don't accept it fully and trust that there will be something better on the other side, they can never fully recover and they will remain burned out, or they will burn out again and again. Anyone who has ever recovered from burnout will tell you that you don't want to stay there. You want to get out of that burnt out state of living. It's so worth it. Everybody will tell you that. So reflect on it. If you have a suspicion that you might move towards burnout, what is holding you back from acceptance? Is it the fear of what it would mean for your life? Just think about it and reflect. The second observation I made is that people focus mainly on recovery through making changes in their outer world. By that I mean their environment, their body, their routines. For example, focusing on their body health, their exercise, their food intake, their sleep. They make changes in their schedules to have more breaks throughout the day and during the week. And this is all good and really necessary. But if they never focus on their inner world, they are in danger to slip back into the old habits and to the old routines and might end up in burnout months or years later again. And that's for me really the most important point for you to overcome burnout once and for all. For you to leave burnout behind, you want to look at your thoughts and become aware of those thoughts that got you to be burned out in the first place. You want to discover the beliefs that you have that might make you fall back into burnout again in the future. And what are those emotions that are memorized and programmed inside of you that will trigger you to go back into the same old habits, into the same old behaviors after a little while? Making changes in my inner world was what got me to recover from burnout in the first place. But more importantly, it made me change so much that I know I will never end up in that same place ever again. And for me, that is so important for my quality of life, for my health, and my mental stability and strength. And I'm so honored to be able to teach the knowledge and the necessary tools in the Change Your Mind, Create New Results program. After going through this program, you fully understand your inner world and where you need to focus on to truly change. And the teachings of that program help you with any kind of changes that you want to make, not just burnout. It's all about understanding your inner world better. And you will understand why as well it is so hard to change, or why we keep falling back into the same old habits time and time again. And you receive really great tools as well to finally learn how to bring about true and lasting change into your life. I'm going to run the program one more time this year. So if you're up for learning the process of change based on the concepts of neuroscience and behavioral science and get all the tools you need to be ready for the next year, for 2023, make sure you get one of the 10 spaces available. The doors open for registration on the 1st of November. But if you want to make sure that you get one of those spots, put your name onto the waitlist today so you get all the details and informations first. The link is in the show notes or below the video. And if you're listening to this episode a while after it got published, don't worry about it. Just check out the links below to find out when the program is running again. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. It has been a pleasure talking to you about my experience with burnout and how I overcame it once and for all, because that's what I really truly want for you too, especially if you feel like something might be missing from your life to truly feel happy. And with that, I love you and leave you. Talk soon and bye-bye.